Hey guys, welcome to the stream, and we're going to get music on for you guys. There we go, we're ready to rock, apparently. Now, where are we? Oh yeah, we're creating fog parameters, that's what we're doing. So these are our outputs. And we've now settled on the way to do this, okay, which is to basically copy these things and then create a new blueprint path through our C++, and then that is going to do exactly what we want. So we want this, and we're going to copy this. Then we're going to go to our C++. I've created out, so now I'm going to create the ins. So there's going to be quite a lot of these, I think. Okay, then float. And we'll basically grab these one by one. Right, so we'll basically forgo the huge long names. We'll just run with that. Right, we'll get the first one done. Okay. And then we'll do that one. We'll do this. And then once we've done that, we'll move on to the next one. It's all rather systematic, but that's the way it is, I'm afraid. Oops, that's not what we want. We'll do float, comma, back to here. Copy that, back to here. And I think what we could do is do this per line. Right? I'm just thinking here what other things we need to do. Okay. So it might not be realistic to do it that way. And finally, copy that, and then okay, so do we have our C++ for this? Apparently not. Okay, so we're going to do that. And this is our first one, so later on when there's a few people in, I shall show you the difference between blueprint only and in a C++ function. Okay, so let me know in the chat when you want to see that, and I'll show you the difference between the code. Okay, now the reason I'm continuing to put stuff like this into C++ is, believe it or not, there's quite a big difference. Okay, so we are basically going to do our out density first. Out density. Right, equals, and now we're going to look at this code. So we'll drag that down a bit. We'll drag that up a bit, and we'll drag this up a bit. Hopefully you guys can see that okay, let me know otherwise. Right, so this is what's giving us our value. This is just clamp, okay? So we're going to do F math and that's lerp. Okay, and we're going to be doing lots of lerps here. So what we'll do is we'll work out our first lerp here, then our next lerp. Okay, so our first lerp is going to be this, right? And our A is going to be fog density night internal. Okay, and our next one is going to be fog this one, and our alpha is going to be snow amount internal. Okay, so that is our first lerp. Okay, so this, if I can select it, is our first lerp. Then our second lerp is going to be the day internal, and that's going to be fog day. it's actually going to be that. I'm going to copy that. Actually, it's not going to be that. It's this one. So we're going to copy that. And we're going to paste that. Okay. So that copy that and paste that. Right. And then we're going to do snow amount internal. We're going to do clamp there, then comma, .0 F, comma, 1.0 F. And that is that whole thing. Okay. So what we do here is we do that. Right. Set fog right, we don't have it yet because we haven't built this yet. So let's build it. Okay. Okay, so we have built. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to compile in here as well. And that's it done. I'm going to say set fog params. Okay. We're going to do that. And we're going to do that. And for super tidiness, we're going to do that. Okay. Now we are rocking, as they say. Then we paste that. Okay. We do that. That. And that. And that. And that. And that. Right. Then we can tidy it up a bit. Okay. And now we can align to the right. Beautiful. So that's done our first one. So this one's a bit easier. Duplicate that. And I'll tell you what we'll do. You know something? We're going to do these three for sure. So I'm going to duplicate these. Right. And we'll decide in good time. Right. And we can build this out a bit. Okay. And that's looking pretty good to me. Oopsie. Right, and then we can actually, before we do anything, we can actually bang this here. I can put that there. Right, we can do reroute nodes on these. Just to get us prepared. Right. And then we can basically plug these in. There. Right. what we can do is we can create ones at the start here. Right, like so. And then we can basically tidy it all up. Right. So we can basically do like kinda like that. Right. We can do it like that. Right, I know I'm being a bit pedantic here, but right, we'll just straighten all this out. Okay, and now all we need to do is the same thing with these, and then that's basically our blueprint, most of our blueprint work done. So we can then concentrate on doing our C++ conversion, which we can do in the moment as we, right, so there we go. Now look at that. Isn't that a nicer, isn't that a blueprint to be proud of? Okay, so save that because we are kind of proud of that, and we have our first one, and now we need basically 2 more ins, right? So we'll copy them and paste them. Okay, so these are going to be ins as well. So in effect, we're going to copy that, right? And that's our outs. And we're on sun weight. So if we go back to here, we actually do that. Okay. And then we're going to do float and paste and float and another paste in a minute. Copy that into here, paste, comma, I'm going to copy that. We put it in here, space that, Okay, and then we're going to build that. Okay. Right, and that's it successfully built. So now, if we refresh this, we've got our two new ones. Okay. And that's, we'll leave that for now. So now all we need to do is the calculation. It's night, then day. Right, so basically what we say is out, height fall off equals F math lerp then it's that comma that and sun weight. And that's it. That is our second one done. Easy peasy. And we now do the next one. So we're going to go to here. Then we're going to copy to a new line. We're going to do float, comma, space, float, comma, and that gives us our two that we can now add again. So we do that, and we copy that, paste it, back to here, select that one, copy that, paste it, copy this line, we paste, and there we go. So our next thing is this, paste it, and we can copy this, paste it, but now what we're going to do is copy this, paste it, copy this, paste it, and that's that. and build. Okay. So we can now move on to the next one, which is the start distance. So we copy that, we've got our H, we do float, paste, comma, float, and we'll do comma, grab this one, copy the name over our C++, then paste it, copy that, paste, right, we can copy that, paste that, then copy that and paste that, copy that, paste that, copy that, paste it, and build. Hi D Diaz, what are you doing? I'm converting marketplace assets, or a particular marketplace asset, and I am optimizing it by moving some of the functions and heavy calculation work into C++. Okay, that's what I'm doing. And this thing here, we're going to have to refresh the nodes. Right, and then we're going to copy them and paste them up there. Then we're going to grab these, copy them, paste them up there. And then it's not that complicated really. It's just basically copying the functionality of Blueprint. I can show you in a minute what I mean. If you would like. What it means is this calculation, these calculations, this calculation are all done in one place, okay? So the equivalent of all of these calculations in C++ is basically that. This here, that's it. Okay? And when you move it into C++, you get a speed bonus, basically, because it's inherently faster to call one function than to call all the nodes in a blueprint. Okay, and when you're trying to go for pure raw speed. Now the reason I'm doing this, and for anybody else that's watching, is because I know for a fact that this runs on a tick. Okay, and there's nothing I can do about that. But what I can do is make this tick take less time. Okay? Now, I have an example of what difference this actually makes. Okay? Which, once I've done this one, I'll show you. Okay? Once I've done this final one, I shall show you the difference that it actually makes. So we actually need this sky scale as well. So we're going to copy this. And we're going to do a new line. Right, now it's a lot of stuff to pass in, but there's a lot of variables that are getting passed about here in the blueprint as well. So, you know, it's not that big of a deal. Well, hopefully you understand that. Diaz, what I'm doing here, I hope that makes sense. That basically what I'm doing is just doing all the calculations and stuff in C++. Right, I'm just getting ready to do this calculation, right? I'm getting all of the stuff that gets passed in. Okay, that is already that's fog density. That's height fall off. Right, it's going to give me a problem here anyway if I actually have copied these inputs already. So I'm not actually worried about that per se, because it's going to give me an error and say, you know, you've already declared this. So let's not worry too much about that. So we copy that. Oh, I've got one more to do, sorry. Float. We've got this sky scale to do. We've already got the sun weight, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay. And now we copy this. And we hit return and paste. And just tab that into position to make it nice and tidy. Okay. So, Mr. Diaz, what we're going to do is this thing here, okay, and this thing here. And we're going to replicate that calculation in C++, okay? So let's have a look at it. I know what I'm going to do, but I'm just trying to talk you through it, or anybody else that's watching and interested at this. Right, so our out value is this out location. Okay, so we'll build this up. This is a little bit different, but not that much different. So we've got that. That's going to give us our out value. Now, what we need to do is this lerp, right? So we'll copy this lerp. As I said, we'll build this up for you as an example for you guys. So we've got our lerp here, and we're doing, it's A is height, night, internal. So it's this one here. So we copy that, we paste it. Our second one is the height day internal. We copy that, we paste it. Okay. Our next one is sun weight. So we've got our sun weight here, so we can copy that and paste it. Okay, that gives us our first calculation. Now, what we do is this is going to be divided by something. Right, so we bracket it, so that gets calculated out. And then what it gets divided by, so we do divided by, and then we'll bracket it again. And we say sky scale divided by 10.0f, and there we go. Yes, it's faster than doing it in a blueprint. Okay, that's that. And once that's done, there we go. Okay, now let me show you something. Okay, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the difference. Okay, now this is all of this, all of these calculations here, and all of these calculations here, and some of them have sub-calculations and some of them are macros, so there's even more calculations in there, right? Now, if you put it in a loop, right, so that you can do it 1,000 times, that's going to give us an idea of how long it actually takes in the difference, right? So if I do that, and then on completion, I do this, right? you'll see what I'm doing is basically, oh, what happened there? Ah, that's okay. What I'm doing is I'm setting a timer, right? And at the start and at the end. And then I'm finding out how long it takes to run 1,000 of these in milliseconds, okay? And this is the blueprint version. If I could stop hitting that button. Right, so if I press play, right, and then we don't do this, right, you'll see that it's taken 24 milliseconds, okay? Now this is going to be bogging down the speed, so don't worry about that. But you can see on the left there we've got 24 milliseconds, right? Now, here's the rub. If I move this is the C++ version, right? So all I'm doing is all of these calculations are getting done in C++. Okay? It's basically doing the exact same thing, but it's throwing it through a C++ function instead, right? And we're going to do the same thing, 1,000, right? And see what the result is. Press play, and look at that. It's only taken 11 and 12. So you can see there that we have actually got around about, and it's actually down at 10 at times. So we've got a bigger than 50% increase in speed. Okay? And that's one function. One function. Okay? So the next question you might ask is, so why does that make any difference to life, the universe, and anything? Well, the reason is because the less time it takes your code to run, the more time you've got to put other stuff in, right? So I could now add more code to a monster's AI, for example. Right now, my overall game thread might run at the same speed, but because I've gained a little over there, I can use it over here. Remember, if you're aiming for 60 frames a second, you have 16.66 milliseconds for your game thread to run. Okay? So all your code has to run faster than 16.67 milliseconds, right? If you're going for 30 frames a second, you've got 33.33 milliseconds, right? If you're going for 120, then you've got 8.8-ish. Okay? So even if you're trying to get as high a frame rate as possible, you're only as fast as either A, your GPU, or B, your CPU thread. Okay? And if it's your game thread logic that's causing a problem, then moving stuff into C++ can give you that little bit of speed that gets you over or under your quota of time in milliseconds, okay? And that is especially especially useful, right, when you are running things on tick, which you try to avoid at all possible costs. But if it becomes inevitable, then the best thing to do is make your code run as fast as possible within that limitation. Okay, so this is running on tick, right? So basically, this part here is taking the place of all of these, right? And it's running every single frame. Okay, so if we're running 60 frames a second, then this code is running 60 times per second, right? And the faster we can make it, the faster it's going to go. Okay, now our next issue is whether we can do this one or not. We're going to have a go, that's for sure. We're going to have a go to see if we can actually replicate this. Okay, but so far we are up to here. Now we do have to pass some more variables in. So refresh nodes, you can see that there, but that's fine, right? Because these ones are doing it too, right? So it's no big difference. Right, and as you see, it is absolutely easy to do. Now we will end up testing this at the end of this. Okay, and there we go, that's that done. So if you're enjoying the stream, guys, I hit the like and subscribe. I'm going to have a quick break for a cigarette. I won't be long, so check out the description for links to the preview to our Kickstarter, our Discord links, Patreon link, my previous game which is on Steam, there's a link to that, it's only $1, to our defense game, and our website. So while I'm away, have a look in there, so you might find something that interests you, and I'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we are back. And thank you for taking the time to explain us, understand what you're doing with these functions. Okay, D. Diaz, you are very much welcome. Thank you for the sub. It's appreciated. And this is what I do these streams for. When I'm working on something like this, it's just, I try to explain it. It gives me a bit of a break from, let's say, pure development, and lets me talk about it to you guys and why I do things the way I do things. Right, we've got a macro in here, so we're going to have to actually do this one as well. Okay. Which is fine. All of these things are fine, we don't mind. Because at the end of the day, if it speeds up our stuff, then all the better. Now, this one is definitely on our radar, right? But at the moment, we're looking at these fog parameters, okay? So, we might actually do this as a separate function. Right, because we've basically got these done, right? And these are kind of separate, so, and they're kind of linked. You can see here sun color, sky color, but they've got calculations that go with each other, right? So what we'll try and do here is we're going to do a separate function, okay? We'll do a separate function, and it's going to be the same as this, right? Except this time we're going to paste that in, and we'll call it in scattering color, okay? And we're going to have two outs. This one, which is this, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to tab that, okay? Oh, if you're still there, Diaz, good luck with your exams. I just noticed that there. So this is not a float. This is a linear color. Right now. So it's F linear color, and it's a out. And we'll call it fog color. Then we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to copy it. We're going to paste it. going to call it fog direction. Okay. And for this one, we can actually look down here and see what we need. Okay. We've got two curves, we've got a float. So let's do our floats, okay? This is the one I'm a bit iffy about, right? But we'll get it, don't worry, we'll get it. So our inputs are going to be float, current time, comma, float, comma, float, comma. So we'll grab this and we'll get this name, copy that, back to this, do that, right, and our only other one is this one, so copy that, and that goes there. And now we've got a couple of curves. Okay, now we have done curves, so we just need to find them. There, it's there. And it's a linear color curve. I've got, so it's not one of these, right? So there's a possibility we might have to have another include file in here, right? We're going for that. And that's sky. Right. And we're going for that. Sun color curve. Cool. Right, so there's our inputs, there's our outputs. Have we got anything else that we need to do here? No. Don't think so. We've got this sub macro, right? But we don't need to worry about that too much, because we can do that calculation inside our this function. So we're going to create declaration definition. It's going to do its funky stuff. Right. We close that for now. And it looks to me like incomplete type is not allowed. Right, so I think we need to do that. And we need to do that. Okay. And we probably need to do it there as well. And that's giving us a pointer. So we need to do that. I want to see if I've got this right or not. Less than 6 subs to go, guys, to hit 900, so don't be shy, hit the button. Helps a lot. I'll be happy, you'll be happy, everybody will be happy. It'll be a happy world. Okay. So now what we need to do is work on these. Okay. So we need our first value. Right, copy, paste that, and we're going to be saying fog color equals right, and that, and I think we need to set this to a local variable, so we're going to say temp so we say curve linear equals wait a minute, equals control copy that, and this is where I get this all wrong. Right, so we say temp sky color dot okay, wait a minute, grab that, copy that, paste that. Right, as I said, this is where I don't know what I'm doing. This is when the pointer, using the pointers and stuff like that, kind of throws me. Okay. Let's see, we have used these before. U-curve. Yeah, that's what we did there. So that was right. And we used this here. Right, okay. We didn't use the dot, we used the other way of doing it. Right, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll not do that. What we'll do is we'll do that. Right. I mean, it shouldn't make any difference, to be fair. I wonder if it's something to do with that. Apparently not. Interesting. These are little things that throw me sometimes. I don't know the exact way we do this. Right. But what we're going to do in the meantime is temp in time, and that's going to be float. Equals current time divided by 1000 F bracket that. We're going to be doing a F mod. So that's F math. F mod. Open brackets, comma, 24.0 F, end. and we're saying get linear color value. Okay. So we're going to have to do a quick search on this one. Let's see what it says. It looks like we need to add our include file. And that's maybe why it's not working. Right, if we have a look in here, see we've not got I'm going to copy that just in case. Right now, this is basically going to be this may be where we're not getting a thing. Okay, maybe not. Okay, whatever. Okay, so it basically says here right now we'll know from this so we should be able to say temp sky color, not that. Okay, so in theory, if we copy that get linear color value, and I'm guessing that that's going to be a linear color. Okay, so we're going to say linear, if linear color, actually what we see is fog equals that, right? But I actually think we need this in the other. I think we don't probably need it in this one, but we need it in the CPP. Right? We shall muck about with that later. Right. So yeah. Okay. So it's U curve linear color. And there we go. Get linear color value. And that's a float. And the question is, hang on a minute, temp, sky, color, okay. Linear. Right. That's what I was expecting. Okay. So that is this. And now what we do we actually need to do temp sky color, or can we actually just do this? I'm just wondering if we can just do this. Sky color curve, right? Yeah, we can. Now this is not the final version of this, right? So you can say fog color equals oh well, we can do it like that. We can say temp sky color, or wait a minute, right, I just want to get this right. Now the question is it that? There we go. Right, now we need to do a bit more processing on this. Okay. As I said before, guys, we only need another, how many do we need subs to hit 900? It'd be fantastic to hit that. We only need another 6. Okay. So we do need to do a bit of multiplication here. Right? Because we need to do this calculate fog thing. Right? Which is actually nothing to do with this thing here. Right? So the actual, this value we didn't actually need to calculate because that input is actually never used. So I don't know why they did that. Right? So what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to add these linear colors. Okay, which is awesome. So these are only inputs. Right? Now the question is, that's float curves. Where's the linear colors? That's vectors. That's floats. That's curve floats. Right. That's vectors again. Right. So it appears Cool. Copy that. Paste that. Comma. Paste that. Comma. Paste that. And that's what we're doing. We're doing 4. Comma. Okay. Second one, copy that. Goes here. Next one. Copy that. Paste it there. We need sun weight and snow amount. Right, so the final one of these is copy that. And paste it there. And we'll do that. Right, and then we'll do float, comma, float, comma, and that, and copy that. Paste it and copy that and paste it, and we'll undo that. Copy that. And paste it. Then what we're going to do is we're going to copy that and then paste it into your declaration. Okay. Save that. Then we'll build it and see what it says to us. Screen Apple. A rather generic question, because the answer is either or. You can make assets for Unreal Engine and they might sell or they might not. You can make a game and put it on Steam and it might sell or it might not. So there is no answer. Now, I think it's fairly obvious that if you write a game and is lucky enough to become very, very popular, then your earning potential on Steam is much greater. Okay, there are more there are more gamers than there are game developers, so your immediate market is much smaller. However, if your game doesn't sell, then it doesn't really matter, right? It takes a heck of a lot less time to make assets, and if you're good at making assets and you know what type of assets to make, then the answer would be assets. But if you want to make millions, then the answer is games. But it's always the same. It depends on the quality of your product, right? If you make assets and they're rubbish, then they ain't going to sell. And if you write games and it's rubbish, it ain't going to sell. So, I hope that answers your question. There's no answer. There is no answer. Right? But it's not a matter of just... The other thing is selling assets. Right, what assets? What type of assets are you going to make? Are you going to make blueprints? Or are you going to make models? Or what are you going to make? What type of asset? And then does that asset have a market? Right? Because you might think, oh, I'll make an asset of this, crazy detailed thing. Right, let's say it is a circus, a set of assets for a circus. Right, it might be the best asset in the world, but you've got a very small niche market. Okay? Whereas, and you're one of a kind. So if somebody wants a circus asset, then you're the guy. Right? But if you make a set of assets of, let's say, AK-47s and guns, then you've got a bigger market, right? Because a lot of people use guns assets in their games, right? But your problem then is you've got a lot of competitors. And is your asset any better than theirs? And therein lies the rub. Right? The more customers for assets there are, the more competition you will have. Right? And it's the same with games, right? If you make an FPS, it's probably got the biggest market, but also it's got the most competitors. Right? So is your game going to be worth buying in comparison to, let's say, Call of Duty? Is it going to be worth buying instead of Fortnite? Or is it going to, blah, blah, blah. You can't come into this thinking, how do I make money easily? Right? Because there isn't a way to do that. Because if there was, everybody would do it. It's the same with writing games. They just say, oh, just write a good game. Well, yeah, if it was that easy, we'd all just write great games. And it's not that easy. So, what we're going to do is we're going to do an F linear color, We're going to call it temp fog color. Okay, and we're going to do that. I'll give you one bit of advice, Screen Apple. If you write a game, it is incredibly hard to get people to buy your game. Right? Think of it this way. Have you bought my game? Probably the answer is no. So, think about that for a second. If you can't get people who come in your stream and are interested in what you do, if you can't get them to buy your game, what chance do you think you've got of getting somebody else to buy your game? Because I'll guarantee you that out of all my subscribers, I've got nearly 900 subscribers. And I would say you'd be lucky if 5 of them have bought my game. No, it's not 0. I know that there's a couple of people have bought it, right? But I'm going to say at the very most, out of 900 subscribers, the very highest number I could think of that have possibly bought my game is 5. And that's for $1. So, you think of how hard it is to get somebody to buy your game. It's $1. $1. Right? And I cannot get 1% of my viewers to buy it. Right? So, think of that. Yes, 5. And I don't think it's even 5. I would probably say 3. But at the maximum, I think 5. Right? I would say 3 for definite. So between 3 and 5. Alright, out of 900. So think about that. I mean, as I said, you've got to put these things into perspective. Right? It's not easy to actually get people to hit the subscribe button. Right? It's right there in front of them. All you need to do is click your button. It doesn't cost them anything. Right? And yet they don't, you can't get them to do that. So, getting them to actually go to Steam, then pay $1, you know? As I said, it's people seem to think it's easy, but it's not. It's far from it. As I say, you don't just make game equals make money. It doesn't work like that. I know people who have, but for the most part, a lot of it is luck. Right? A lot of it is luck. Like somebody playing your game that's got a big stream or whatever, and they recommend it, you know? And as I said, it might be just blind luck. So you can never tell. Right, so we're doing 2 lerps here. So, yeah. And yeah, making games is hard. Well, thank you, Rumoured Legend. I appreciate that. I just tell it like it is, you know? People seem to think, oh, make game, quids in. Okay. Let me show you something, right? Just, this will be interesting to people. Just wait till I fill in this last thing. Right, I need this variable here, which is this one, snow amount internal, right? Right, and I'll show you the stats for my game, okay? And you'll be shocked, right? Now, I think it's better than the sales. The sales actually show, but the sales are pathetic, right? There you go. Lifetime Steam revenue, right? That's how much I've made, $300. Number of units sold, 52. Right? 5 returned, that's kind of normal, right? Wish lists, so 219 people have got it on their wish list, right? So 4 times more people have got it on their wish list than have actually bought it. Right, these are the keys that I've given out. So this is just the sales, right? So that shows you how pathetic it is. Now, I think my big game deserves a bit better than that, but whether I think that or not doesn't really matter, because that's the number of sales it's got. right? And by the way, you don't get your $100 back until you do 1,000 in revenue. So basically, I haven't even got my $100 back yet for that, right? So actually, funnily enough, it's even less. So that $300, you can actually change it to $200. If you take out the $100 I had to pay to get it on Steam in the first place, right? I'm not complaining about this, by the way. It's just the way it is, right? It's just the way it is, and you've just got to take it for what it is. Yeah, rumour legend, there's only two ways that your game is going to sell. Yeah, that's it. It's spend money. You've got two ways you can do it. Number one, spend money, which I don't have, so it's not an option. And number two is be very lucky. Well, it doesn't matter if somebody makes a game 10 times better than your game, because there's no such thing, right, as one game is 10 times better than another game, right? Because it's all objective. Right? You might say Call of Duty is, you could say it's a 10 times better game than Skyrim, okay? Or let's say it's objectively 10 times better made, right? Well, that's what we're kind of trying to do, rumour legend, but that's not easy either, right? The thing about it is that you can make a game that is objectively crap, right? Now, the thing about it is you'll know that it's objectively crap. Yeah, I know rumored legend. We've kind of been down that rocky road, right? I mean, you've got Kickstarter, you've got angel investors, you've got, yeah, I mean, your ideal one is an angel investor, but they're about as, well, plentiful as unicorns, right? But the point is, what Screen Apple was saying is, there's no objectively 10 times better game, right? But the point is, while you're making a game, you will objectively know if your game is fun or not, right? Because you'll either play it or you won't. Now, there is a little few parameters in that, but the reason I knew that the game I made before, the one that's on Steam, you know, the one that nobody bought, right? In fact, the funny thing is, right, here's another little funny story, is about 50% of the people that have bought it are German. Don't ask me why, considering Germany is like a tiny segment of, you know, the Steam community, right? People buying games on Steam, right? And incredibly, I would say about 50% of the people who have bought my game are German. Every time it comes up that I've sold a game, which is once every month if I'm lucky, I always check and it will say Germany. Right? But the point is, Screen Apple, back to the point, right? Different games attract different people, right? So a Call of Duty player will objectively say that Call of Duty is 10 times better than Skyrim. And a Skyrim player will say the exact opposite. Right? Because it's just taste. It's the same as, you know, you come across something that is like 8-bit graphics. Right? You could objectively say that, you know, a modern graphical masterpiece is 10 times better than an 8-bit game, right? There is an argument to be made for that, but there is a market for it. Some people like 8-bit graphics, some people like just squares and circles on their screen, right? If I remember rightly, like Asteroids. You know, I can't remember the one on Xbox, but it was like vector graphics, but it was dead flashy and stuff, but that's all it was. And it was cool, right? So there is no 10 times better. You're trying to appeal to a certain market. Right? But on that bombshell, and hopefully you've all now gone and bought my game, and even if you did, I would still only have sold another 5. So yeah. But anyway, I'm going to leave you on that, guys, and I'll work on this in the next little while I'm off stream. But if you've enjoyed it, hit the like and subscribe, it helps a lot. Thank you, Rumoured Legend, for joining in the chat. Screen Apple as usual. Hopefully you guys have learned a little bit today about doing some C++, plus how crap my game's sales were. And I shall see you guys in 4 hours time, so 8 PM Central that is. So check out the links for our Kickstarter. There's a link in the description to it. It's called, I'll get a link for you. Where are we? Talking to you guys, trying to do a link, forgetting where I was. Right. And it's there. Kind words, Rumoured Legend. Kind words. I'll be back 8 PM. Join the Discord, Rumoured Legend, and my personal one. And you guys are welcome to ask me anything you like, if it's for advice or tips or whatever. 90 days. Yeah, that's how long we've been doing this, yeah. So anyway, time to go. My wife wants me to go and pick some leaves off a tree to make some kind of tea for some reason. I don't know why. It's some sort of Mexican voodoo stuff. Well, as I said, I'll be back tonight, 8 PM. Nice speaking to you, Rumoured. catch you later, Screen Apple, and bye bye for now.